What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. Today we are going back to the OEM headlights on the 135 build. Currently I have the custom headlights made by Bay Optics. They're really nice. They have brand new lenses on them. They look pretty much flawless. But for me personally, I just think that the OEM headlights fit this build a lot better. And so I was able to track down a set of LCI adaptive xenon headlights. They weren't cheap, but I did save a little bit of money finding them lightly used on eBay. Let me show you guys what we have and how we're gonna go about installing them and wiring them up so they work properly. All right, so here they are. The left one was much more difficult to track down than the right one. For whatever reason, I found an abundance of right side LCI headlights, but I had a really difficult time finding a decently clean driver's side LCI headlight. So these look pretty good. I'd give them like an 8 out of 10. They're not perfect. Like the lens definitely has a little bit of scratching on it. Nothing in the headlights is really hazy though. Like all the lights look good, and these also have all of the modules intact. These do have all of the tabs minus one that is missing on both of them. It is this one right here and this one right here. I guess that's like a pretty common one that cracks when people get into accidents. That tab typically goes right here and mounts into this little piece. I don't really think it's going to be a problem because the actual headlight bracket mount still holds the headlight up, and there's plenty of other mounting places for it, so I don't think it'll be an issue. If worst comes to worst, I might plastic weld a little piece on and just make it fit with that little area if I have to. I don't think I will, but if I have to, I will. So in terms of installation, it's not too difficult. Obviously, we were working on the car and I was sort of waiting to reassemble everything until I had the headlights. But yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and pop these headlights out. There's a couple of Torx right here. There's some 10 mils on the inside over there, and then you have a Torx up here as well, and the entire bracket will come out. I did have to do a little bit of adjusting on my original headlights because I wanted them to fit better. Typically, you see that a lot of the 135 headlights just kind of sag and they leave really big gaps over here. So what I actually ended up doing was just dremeling out the hole up top so I could push everything in further. That allowed the headlight to just sort of sit a little more flush with everything. So I'm probably gonna end up having to do that on my OEM headlights, my new OEM headlights as well. And then in terms of the actual wiring, because obviously this car did not, this is a pre-LCI, so it didn't come with the LCI headlights. Now, in order to get these LCI eyebrows to work on this car, we will need to tap in to the original plug harness. We're basically going to be using these little BMW connector pins and wires, and we're going to be filling slot number 7 on the plug itself and tapping that wire into the wire that is in slot number 1. So 7 into 1. A couple ways you can do it. You can either solder it on, or you can use a little crimp connector, which is probably what we'll end up doing, and then we'll just relume everything so it's nice and tight. But yeah, it shouldn't be too difficult, pretty straightforward. One thing I will do down the road, being that these just aren't perfect. I mean, they're not terrible, but I know that some of the pitting on here is going to annoy me down the road. After we go to paint and everything, and once we go to paint correction on the entire car, I am going to wet sand these down, and then I'll polish them. And then we're also, of course, going to lay down S-Tech PPF on top of it. So they will look pretty much brand new when I'm done. All right, so the Bay Optics headlights are out, and one thing you're gonna notice that happens on a ton of these headlights is a lot of the tabs will either be like plastic welded or JB welded on, or they will just be completely broken off. This one actually has it completely broken off. That is super common, and I actually found an OEM BMW 135 headlight tab repair kit, which I didn't even know existed, but I'll have it linked down below for you guys if you run into this issue and you need to replace some of the tabs. It comes with literally everything, and it's not that expensive. So if you're battling with that issue, make sure you check that out. So obviously we got the headlights out, and what we're going to be doing here, you guys, is if you look on the back of the headlight plug, there are going to be numbers in each corner. You see how that says 1 down there, and then over in this corner it says 5. Down in this corner it says 6, and back in that corner it says 12. So these are numbered, which makes it a lot easier. But basically what we're going to be doing is using the 7th little terminal in here. So 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's going to be kind of tough to see, but it's going to be this little blue plug right here. We're going to pull that little blue plug out, and then we're going to repin it, and then we will tap it into this one right here, which is wire number 1. Before we do that, let's go ahead and transfer over the new headlights to the new headlight brackets. These are brand new OEM 1M headlight brackets made for the 1M body. If you guys need any of the 1M parts, or you're interested in how much I'm spending on this crazy build, there is going to be a Google Sheet link down below that has everything laid out for you. All right, so let's work on the driver's side first. It's gonna have this little cap on the back, a couple of little clips in the back, a couple of little clips right here that we just need to lift up on. And it'll come off just like that. And then what we wanna do is actually cut this loom. Just be very careful. Open this up about 3 inches so we have more room to put in our new wire, and then of course tap into number 1, the first wire. All right. That should be plenty, just like that. All right, so we are looking for number 7, which is going to be this little guy right here. So there's a little plug in it right now. We're gonna go ahead and actually remove that plug. Again, there's numbers in the corner to tell you, which one you're working on. This little guy right there. Pull that out. So once we've pulled that out, we actually do want to take off this little cover right here. And the way we do that is there's 4 little clips in each corner. I'm gonna push those up. And then once you undo all those, should be able to pull that piece off just like this. And now we're gonna take our wire. You can buy this from BMW with these little connectors. I actually just found like an old plug off of a piece I wasn't using in the garage, spare parts, and pulled these out of that. And they're all the same, so you can just use them. It's got everything you need. We're gonna go ahead and insert this into number 7. The white one was 6, so this would be 7. All right, so that should be all the way in. You can see the little connector right there. So now what we have to do is tap this into number 1. So remember, this is 6 up here. And if you look at the actual cover right here, you can see 6 would have been up here and 1 would be down here. So 1 is going to end up being this gray and purple wire right here. But I have these little connectors that work pretty well, and I've never had an issue with them. They're like little contact connectors. I'm gonna use one of those. So this is what the connector looks like. Pretty self-explanatory. You're gonna throw the wire in one side, the new wire in the other side, and then crimp this down, and then it's going to splice into both the wires and create a contact between the two. So and then this little excess, we can just trim it right here. Let's go ahead and throw our cover back on. All right, this side is good, tapped, ready to go. Let's go ahead and hit the passenger side. Forgot to throw on the little cap here. The other side didn't have one, but this side does. All right, so both of the plugs are good to go. Comfortable with that. So let's go ahead and throw in the OEM headlights, and then we'll start getting everything situated. So I just want to show you guys the difference in the gap before and after. So right now it is not drilled out or anything, it's just factory, and it doesn't look like much, but it's a pretty sizable gap, and it just looks weird. It just looks awkward on the car. And I've also found that doing this makes everything fit a whole lot better, like including the bumper and everything. I see this on all of these 135s. Like the 135 headlight just tends to sit a little bit, like sags a little bit. It looks weird, but it also makes it difficult for the bumper to connect properly over here and underneath. And I just feel like when you take the extra steps to just Dremel this out a little bit and push it all up and in, it makes a big difference. So this is the gap now, and let me show you after. It's a much more consistent gap. It's a little bit smaller all the way through. And it just fits better. Just fits a little bit better. You don't have to adjust it by a ton. It's just a very, very small amount. Instead of dremeling out the ones that came on the OEM ones, I just pulled off the ones that were on the Bay Optic headlights that were already dremeled out. I still gotta swap this one over. I do have to say though, just seeing these on the car, man, I'm excited. I just think that these are gonna look so much better on this car. And yeah, just something about the LCI like OEM headlights, I just think look great on the E82. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and knock out the other side and then we're gonna plug everything in and make sure everything works. Ta-da! All right. Just connected the battery, plugged everything in. All the gaps are good. They look identical on both sides. I think this is the moment of truth. We're gonna see if this actually worked. Hey, they work. They definitely work. Ah, yes, the throwback orange headlights, man. I know that not a lot of people like that like dulled out yellowish ring. So yeah, I mean, some people would be like, oh, what a downgrade, but I don't know, man. I just feel like these are so period specific. I think one thing I might try is just replacing the rings with like a whiter bulb to sort of match the LED up top. Being that these are just the normal yellow rings in here, and then these are like LED white up top, looks a little funky. So I might actually switch out these rings, the bulbs in the rings, for something that's more comparable to those. So everything is just white rather than like super, super yellow. But yeah, these look really good. Now I can actually go ahead and put this car back together. Also, if anyone is interested in buying these, I have them listed on my website for sale. I'm gonna sell all of this together as a package. So if you are interested in buying these from me, I will have them linked down below. I've only had them on the car for a couple of months, hardly driven with them. The lenses are brand new. They look really good. I mean, if you're looking for an aftermarket solution, these are fantastic. I'm so happy with this car so far, you guys. Oh man, it's turning out so good. Sounds really good too. So I think after looking at these, once we go into paint, I'll definitely swap out the ring bulbs so they're just a little bit whiter to match the top. But overall, the OEM design and styling I like way better, in my opinion. I just think it's gonna fit this car so much better. And once we have the mesh in there, this is my first time seeing the car with like the bumper and the new intercooler in and everything, and it just, oh dude, it all looks so good. This car is gonna look so good when we're done. So happy with the progress on this. So yeah, these turned out really good. And you guys can see what I mean by like fitment. It just fits a lot better all around when you push those tabs up and make a little bit more room. But I think this turned out so freaking good, dude. I just moved the car. This is the first time I've driven or like moved the car in like a month or even over a month. I just topped off the power steering, got her feeling good. It's really coming along. We're so close to, once we get the flares, we are gonna be in really good shape. All right, so that was an easy one today. Everything works out. The LCI headlights are now completely functional. Everything is working. And I think the car just looks so proper with the OEM headlights. I can't wait to get this thing painted and all the bodywork done and the wheels on. Oh, it's gonna look so freaking good. We're getting there, we're getting close. I've got some really cool interior things that I'm working on too that I can't wait to share with you guys. Kind of partially done, but I want to show you guys when it's actually finished. But nonetheless, you guys, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for watching all the videos, all the comments, suggestions. I really appreciate it. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.